Deal.
So I was thinking about solidarity and allies as sort of synonyms almost, and thinking that's I think that's basically my theology, based on the Shema, the Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And it seems to me that those are two sides of the same coin, right? You can't love God without loving your neighbor. And so that's what solidarity is, because we're all neighbors. And I think that is illustrated with St. Paul's image of the body of Christ, and more I think the body of Christ represents all of creation. Everything that God created is good, is part of the body, and we're all connected, and we all need one another, depend on one another. So not to be in solidarity is actually to be it's like rejection, like your body rejecting part of you. When I'm hungry, my right hand works to pick up crackers and cheese and feed me, and it doesn't ever say, well, I have rights, I don't have to do what you tell me. I'm not going to pick up the cheese and crackers just because you're hungry. My right hand doesn't think that way, and I think that's the way God created the universe, to work that way. So it's natural to do it. But we live in a society that's got a different idea. And Maylan was talking earlier about all the ways in which we act as colonizers because we grew up in that culture without even knowing it, without even realizing it. And so part of my experience of being in solidarity is finding out some of that stuff about myself, and some of that's been fairly painful and shocking and discouraging. Realizing, listening to Bishop Mark MacDonald talking about the doctrine of discovery, and realizing, that's our whole nation's reason for existence is based on the doctrine of discovery, which is patently untrue. So what excuse does Canada have to lay claim to the land? And as a Christian and a person of faith, it's God's land, it's not ours. So how are we not sharing it with the rest of God's body, God's people? And realizing that's going to be that understanding of the land is not going to happen in my lifetime universally. So let go of that for a little bit. But and also I think as my First Nations friends who grew up in a First Nation more culture, talked about how important it is to be proud of who you are and to do things from yourself and your own culture. And I thought, okay, so then I should not be trying to be like my Cree friends. I should come out of my own background, which is 95% English, and so I'll bring shortbread instead of bannock. But then I started thinking about, so being English, so what's there to be proud of about being English? Well, that was a tough one, my goodness. And it's when I began to accept more fully the story that I told Adrian earlier about my family in Newfoundland and the great, I guess they're great aunties, talking about when they were children and playing in the yard. A woman would come out of the woods and visit with them, and she was an Indian woman, and she was their grandmother. So actually I'm a Canadian. I'm lots English, but I'm First Nations too. I'm a Canadian. And I'm still working on what does that mean. So part of being in solidarity with others is opening up, finding out more about yourself, and letting go of pieces, and some of it's just been joyous, just been really exciting and wonderful. Most of it, actually. And one story I thought about telling was, I wore my Sisters in Spirit T-shirt. I think it was 10 years ago or more that about 10 and a half years ago, the National Anglican and United Churches and the Native Women's Association of Canada got together and had a campaign for raising awareness of missing and murdered Aboriginal women. And a group of people got together at St. Matthew's Church, people from all different faith organizations and from Mothers of a Red Nation, and I think there was Dani Ganichuk. Maybe some others came together to talk about how would we do this. And it was amazing. All the people who came, the goodwill that was there. There's a certain amount of turf wars about who's going to decide what, but in the end it was decided that the most important thing was to honor the women, and that politics would not be part of it. It would be about holding up these women and their families in honor and respect, and that just felt right, and good. And to see so many different people who hardly knew each other coming together and able to agree on it. And then when we had a vigil, we had so many people come out to the Indian Métis Friendship Centre for the vigil from all walks of life, all different perspectives. And it just felt like here we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And it's affirmed because all of these different people have come together. So that's been, and I find that it's like you're talking about Indian time. When it's right, and you can tell.